Red Dead Redemption wanted to emphasize the dead in its name by releasing Undead Nightmare in 2010, offering a completely different vibe and enemy set instead of just the rootin', tootin', shootin' of a typical western. The DLC became one of the most critically acclaimed add-ons for a game of that era. Too bad the sequel didn't get the same treatment. But can a zombie outbreak that crippled the wild western frontier do anything to us in modern day? Is it possible to defeat a virus that isn't actually a disease but more a curse that people accept in their rotten brain state of mind? Can the fact that returning to normalcy all by returning a mask make this any less a danger to us all? Well, let's find out. Boy, I said, boy, we are discussing why you wouldn't survive Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmares, Zombie Apocalypse. I also reckon you're going to be burning a lot of your loved ones' bodies when you kill their zombie remains. Well, while you scoop up Grandpa's ashes, make sure to drink Grandpa's Ashes, one of my personal favorite flavors from Gamersupps. Get you the velvety smooth energy supplement and maybe a sexy waifu cup by clicking the link in the description and using code WOW at checkout to get 10% off your order. Thanks, Grandpa, for tasting so good. Now, to the video. Dating back thousands of years ago in the regions of what is now known as Mexico, the Mesoamerican civilization of the Olmecs had flourished. Known in the present day for their artworks such as stoneheads, statues, and jewel-like constructs, being the foundation from which all other civilizations would spur from this land, the Olmecs would prosper for over 1,500 years. The elites would mandate the creation of luxurious vanities like jade masks to accentuate their class. They would also routinely practice bloodletting as a way to appease the gods. It wouldn't be until around 400 BC when the Olmecs pretty much disappeared without any record. It is theorized changes in the environment and tectonic shifts had caused this. However, in this scenario, we can deduce that something much more horrific and destructive occurred. In 1911, a revolutionary guerrilla leader by the name of Abraham Reyes had long been at war with the Mexican army. A power-hungry individual, Reyes stumbled into the catacombs of a mansion in a small village named Escalera. Wanting nothing more than to win his war with Mexico, Reyes donned the mask, attempting to reach a form of immortality. How he gained this skewed knowledge of the mask and what it could do is unknown, but one thing was sure: it did grant his wish, in a monkey's paw kind of way. The mask had transformed him into an undead zombie. Not only that, but it enacted a widespread curse that awoke every corpse within an undescribed radius, sparking every dead body to come back to life and immediately begin to start hunting the living to feast on their flesh and spread a wicked infection. For the sake of the story and this synopsis, a mixture of both the construction of jade masks and ritualistic bloodletting probably created this cursed mask, a blight created by their gods to punish the mortals for their vanity and want for life after death. It is described that this mask dates back to the Aztecs, as a Aztec goddess also appears before John Marston later on, but the jade mask itself falls more in line with the predominant artifacts of the Olmec people, especially considering Olmecs predated them by over 1,000 years. We say all this to show that this zombie outbreak does not have a biological starting point or virus to derive from, making no sense in any regard to the medical field, and instead taking homage from the occult from which zombies as an idea and real-world concept had originated from. The preceding outbreak from the mask was widespread, unexpected, and overwhelming when it triggered. Any viable corpse or freshly dead body of any living creature or former living creature will be corrupted by the curse to come back. There will be no visible signs of this happening. No otherworldly lights in the skies, no black fog consuming the land or tremors shaking the earth. All it takes is one guy going into a crypt in Mexico and putting on the mask like he is Jim Carrey, or in this case, Yemi Carrera, and turning themselves and every stiffy into the living dead. But what did this mean for John Marston and the non-canon events of Undead Nightmare, and what would a similar situation with a mask like this mean for us? There is a noticeable gap in time span between the closing years of the Wild West in the 1910s and current day. Tech, weapons, modernization, and most importantly, knowing what a zombie is. For John Marston, the family uncle waltzed inside and proceeded to bite his wife and son, leading to him hog-tying them both to set out and find a cure. Zombies sprawled all out while the public was in a frenzy to determine the root cause of the plague besieging all of them. Journeying through the US, Marston would meet a man with a glass eye by the name of Seth Briers, a stereotypical prospector that has lost all sanity that hangs out with the dead like they are his best friends. He somehow knows of the Aztecs, Olmecs, possibly from his fascination with treasure and knowing how the mask actually works, and instructs Marston to venture south of the border, down Mexico way. Fending off hordes of the undead with the US Army, Marston plows through nationwide quarantining to get to Escalera. It's there that he sees the patient zero zombie of Reyes before gunning him down. Proceeding to fight a catacomb of mummies, Marston returns the mask to its altar, effectively ending the curse and turning all still living undead back to life.
First thing you need to do is make sure that you do not just go out and start decapitating zombies left and right, do you understand? Do not start decapitating zombies left and right.
That just really sucks for the people that were killed or slaughtered as zombies.
Ugh, what happened? Stan? Don't worry, babe. Everything's gonna be okay. It's working! They're turning back to normal!
While the zombie plague was quelled, Marston would eventually be shot to death, with Seth Briers eventually finding the mask for himself and running off with it again to rekindle another zombie outbreak, bringing Marston back to life as a sentient zombie that can think for himself thanks to holy water that had been on his body at the time of his burial. He then roams the land, killing his undead brothers and sisters to restore order and peace and return the mask to its proper place. A simple story, a simple plot device, one mask to turn a zombie apocalypse on and off. Surely something like this couldn't be burial grounds for a why you wouldn't survive scenario. Well, that's the point of this video in the series, right? The fact that a single mask being taken from a central location triggers all dead in an unspecified surface area to reanimate is already broken enough if you truly think about it. But the implications of this and what it can turn into are so much worse. The curse acts as a virus that can infect any person or animal if a zombie bites or scratches them. However, this plague will have a potency stronger than, say, the infectious rage virus, bitten people dying within just a few seconds just to turn in another short amount of time. The undead will also function like the generic zombie archetype, being shambling corpses that can only be killed by removing the head or destroying the brain, but also via burning the bodies or dousing them in an unholy amount of holy water. Living beings that are brought back from the dead all retain a modicum of who they once were, operating in ways similar to their lifestyles prior. An Aztec goddess that assisted John Marston had said that every single zombie was conscious to some degree of their current state, meaning a zombie knows what's going on with themselves. Every person that has turned are acting of their own will, not just through pure mindless volition, meaning they can make decisions that are not just completely feral. Once a person has turned, they never want to go back to being dead and will actively look to infect other people so they can be indoctrinated into their way of thinking. But what can a person turn into? There are a number of types of undead that will mutate and come after you, with the most common being the fresh undead, baseline zombie types that can alternate between shambling around slowly and going full sprint at a victim, trying to bite them and grab them and all sorts of other zombie-like stuff. Some of them can mutate into bolters, running around on all fours being faster than normal deadites, with flurries of attack that can make it hard to avoid being bitten or scratched by them. It will also scream at high volumes to alert other infected and disorient survivors. Bruisers will be hulking, beefy, fatty boys that can easily bowl through people and knock them off their feet, stunning survivors to either crush them or allow other zombies to swarm in on stunned people for prime infection. And it wouldn't be a zombie apocalypse without this kind of special zombie, but the Retcher, spewing toxic and highly acidic bile at people to burn and infect them from long distances. But these are just the human dead. Animals can also be afflicted by the curse. Dogs, bats, wolves, boars, everything in between, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Honestly, the animals you encounter as the living dead in Undead Nightmare are all mammals, so it is possible that only mammals are afflicted, kind of like the rabies virus. But since this isn't really a virus with realistic proportions, we can make the assumption that other types of animals can easily fall prey to the curse. If insects like mosquitoes can be infected, then the curse would be extremely and easily spreadable. Birds converting and swooping down to peck at people and animals to get them turning, fish polluting streams of water, insects in general by the thousands just swarming out and infecting. Hell, the fact that the curse converts already dead organisms back means thousands upon thousands, even millions of dead animal, insect, and even plant life could come back to instantly start attacking the living. Anything being able to turn that once was living is an insane revelation. It would be a nightmarish world where anything can infect you at any given moment, no matter where you are. Giant animals and variants breaking through defenses, small animals and insects sneaking in places to bite you while you sleep. Nowhere will be safe. The only way out is by procuring the mask and returning it to a tomb in a small Mexican village. But that's the trickiest part. Gameplay wise, yeah, getting a mask back to a set location seems easy enough. But shit, a lot can happen to that mask. If the mask were to be cast into the sea like the Jim Carrey movie, there would be no finding it and no remedy to the outbreak. The mask could be lost in an unknown location without the knowledge of the mask being the reason for all of this. If someone or an organization with malicious intent discovered the potential of this simplistic act, then they could effectively wield or accidentally trigger this synopsis, locking the mask in a high security vault in modern day to ensure the Red Dead curse will never be lifted. The organization that does this will probably be looking to research into immortality and the sciences of the undead to allow its members to have the same fate as John Marston at the end of the Undead Nightmare DLC, who came back as a sentient zombie that cannot die. It is feasible to see some people willing to zombify and kill all life to ensure their own life can live indefinitely, so long as the mask is never returned. The curse possibly expanding its influence slowly over time across the entire world, making the reality of anything that dies coming back to life, even if they aren't bitten. And while I have discussed before in both Romero's universe and The Walking Dead that society would adjust to this fact of life, of all dead coming back. But with the curse, anything is fair game and a lot worse. Think of it this way, if it's a curse, it's worse. Highly infectious zombies coming in all shapes and sizes to come at you. Anything that dies coming back shortly to attack. Even if you are well armed, well defended, even if you have a shit ton of guns, the army is prepared, even with it becoming common knowledge to remove the head, destroy the brain, burn the dead, and using copious amounts of holy water, like using it through a fire hose like a firefighter, the constant onslaught of dead will be way more than we can handle over time. We will exhaust supplies because as long as there is living, there will be dead. Heavily armed compounds would eventually be established, barring all animal life, and having constant health checks and perimeter checks to make sure no one would simply just get infected randomly or randomly die or expire. But in the long run, paranoia mixed with swelling dead numbers would quickly make anything we prop up in retaliation would be knocked down, until eventually all will fall before the curse of the mask and the people that will try to retain immortality, accidentally or not, in its wake, turning the entire planet into an undead nightmare. That redeems this Red Dead look into a giant DLC. What did you think? Could you survive? What should we cover next? Let me know down below. Don't forget to check out Gamersups and use code WOW at checkout for 10% off drinks, waifu cups, and more. Special thanks to my Patreon patrons and YouTube channel members and my WSG Streams live stream donators. I live stream Left 4 Dead 2 every Wednesday on that channel to be included on this list here. Also, thank you Chago aka QuickFlix for editing the video today. Until next time, I'm Zach S aka Wow Such Gaming. Never forget to stay rootin', tootin', and shootin', stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay wow.